They say you should never judge a book by its cover, yet we place our face on a book that's filed in nonfiction yet filled with absolute fiction. It's a name for it, but hold on. We praise the hurt, the disappointments, and jealousy for, and I quote, our friends. We heart the smiles, laugh at the pain, and secretly lust over images that are filtered beyond our recognition. It's a name for it, but hold on. For instance, we did it for the Vine until the gram came along and allowed you to share a second, a portion, even a minute of your life, dreams, and desires with the world. We expose ourselves for red-filled hearts, a follow, a share, and even a DM. Wait, there's a name for it, but hold on. Reddit is still in the picture, and now there's so many ways to meet up, but hold on. I dare not leave out the tweets. In 2006, we were introduced to the very platform that Number 45 uses as a press conference release stage. Disturbing to say the least, but wait, there's a name for it, and we so proudly call it social media. We allow it to shape our lives, mold our worlds, discover our dreams, unleash our pain, define our desires, mess up our days, and soak up every being at times just because it feels so good to be liked for anything than to be unknown for nothing at all. Social media, that's the name for it. How do you allow it to affect your life? I am Lady Simone, and this is the With All Due Respect podcast.
This is the With All Due Respect podcast presented by Mo Knows with your girl Lady Simone, Mr. McFly, and your main man Mo. So now we got that out the way, let's go ahead and start the show. As y'all can see, we had a different introduction this morning as we normally would give you. Lady Simone came up to me and said, you know, I got an idea to open up the new episode. And I was kind of lost, like, okay, what's wrong with the old way we was doing it? I said, well, there's nothing wrong with it. Let's just try something new. And actually, also in the midst of trying something new, as far as the introduction, let's just have an open conversation. Just an open piece. Let's just discuss whatever's on our mind, whatever's going on in the media, politics, whatever. So it's just it doesn't really have a direction today. We're just going to have a real open conversation. So start off, I want to know what made Lady Simone come up with such a poem as she did, and let alone, like, what were you planning on actually? What's your agenda with it? What's your goal for it?
Well, okay, the whole poem came about just looking at social media in the light of, like, just differently. And I've had discussion with people, and we talk about how you see a lot of people, I don't know if I want to say fake it for social media, but they portray a different life on social media than they do in real life. And to some people it's bothersome. To some people they feel like we should stay true to who we are and not try to put on for other people. And you know, one thing about the poem that was about from social media that inspired me was that there's so many people that actually look up to people on social media, and that's not really who they are. So it's kind of like a false perception that they get of somebody. And I feel like we should just stay true to who we are, and we should be transparent with people. We should show people the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think that's something that we don't do because we want to like, or we want somebody just to accept us. And it's like, for what? Because what you're going through can help somebody else, and somebody else may just be going through the same thing, and y'all can pull each other out of the rut. So that was my whole thing behind the poem. Like,
I don't think people want to be transparent. We spoke about this, and y'all probably hear that that we will actually come back and touch on this topic probably every podcast for the most part, because what we like to consider that what we do here and what we give to y'all, we call it soul food for thought. So we actually want to speak to your soul, let alone anything else. And on this platform that we have, we're actually going to be transparent, probably to the point of even being uncomfortable, and that's okay. You know, you're going to have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable because you're looking at it as a bigger picture. It's not about you or any level of embarrassment. It's more so what someone can get from your story. And I've said it before, you look at some of the people that y'all follow on social media, you're normally gravitated towards them because you see something.
You see their success.
You see their success, but also with that being said, you see something in them that you may be going through, so you identify with. So with that being said, you kind of gravitate towards them more. So the initial goal for this right here, the podcast, I know when I was, excuse me, when I was coming up, I always used to look for answers. And to try to minimize my mistakes. You need mistakes, so that's when you gain leverage and you gain experience. But you want to minimize those as much as possible, in my opinion. So this is going to serve for that same person, that same little boy or female, nonetheless, who's looking for some form of guidance, who may be going through what one of the three people that's on this panel may be going through or have gone through. So it's just a level of transparency, and I think a lot of people aren't comfortable with letting you know that I'm having a bad day or taking a picture without a filter or makeup or just whatever the case might be. And I myself, I guess you would say, I'm going through a detox of the same, because I was brought up under the same principles. You know, you want to have a haircut when you take a picture or whatever the case might be, or even if you have like a little breakout on your cheek, you want to actually turn the other cheek so that it doesn't really. But nonetheless, this is everyday stuff, and I'm human. You know what I'm saying? Some days your weight fluctuate. You can be on it real heavy, and then next minute you off. So it's just being transparent and
being relatable.
And that's definitely a good way of putting it as well.
Allowing people to understand that
excuse me.
You know, you're not perfect. Allowing people to understand that, you know, you can be in a certain space and you know, they don't have to put you on such a high pedestal because you still go through things as well. So I think that's important.
I think regarding, like you said, people living a false life on social media, it's not so much a false life. It's just not a full perception of their life. They're only showing you a certain part of their life. So I'm not saying that's not a part of their life. It's just not the full spectrum. So if you don't get the full picture, you can't necessarily get the full concept of the person's trying to really convey. And I think...
Well, that's more from a positive standpoint. Because I guess you're saying only thing people see is the glory. They don't understand. They don't see the story. What about for those people that's actually putting on and their life's really not like that? Because on social media you can create. It's no different than the soap operas. It's not real, so you can create any setting, any story, any narrative that you want for those who don't know you.
You can, but again, like I said, you have people that create certain narratives that make it seem like that they're really doing a lot when they're not. Mm-hmm. You got people that create narratives that seem like they're doing nothing, but they're doing a lot. So it depends on it, whatever direction you want to push it to. But nonetheless to say, the person's only trying to show you a certain part of their life, what they want you to see, what they want you to think of them. So you can understand, whatever you see on social media, you see someone tweet or post, they want you to know that.
So what's wrong with like just working that stuff, like, and also being silent, you know, versus actually all up in your face, like, cause that's pretty much that's what social media has come to at this point. I mean, it was the origins of it, I believe.
Was to keep in touch.
Title, social media, to be social.
Yeah.
Yes,
and then
to be social,
but media platform,
to be messy, is that part of being social?
It's different levels of it. Again, messy is a perception thereof. Some people might say that messy is being messy. Someone says being having fun.
This is true.
Girls like, oh, we was just twerking on camera. Why y'all?
This is true.
Like, yo, we were just having fun dancing. It's different perceptions of it, but again, it can be used in different ways, and I just feel like however it's embodied, it just depends on how the user wants to use that specific tool. None less than a gun. It's the same thing. You use to protect, or you can use to
cause harm.
Yeah, it's just based off the actual user. But I would personally prefer people just be true and be vulnerable to it and actually say what they feel on it. Or if you're not going to do that, don't utilize that tool as much.
I just think it goes back for me. You know, for me, one thing that's very important to me about social media that I always try to do when I go on is make sure that I don't put anything negative that can affect and hurt somebody else, because those things are so powerful. Like, that is a tool that's used to where you can say something that can just turn somebody's life upside down.
So playing devil's advocate, what if somebody said, this is my, because we see it all the time, actually, this is my social media, this is my page, if you don't like it, unfollow me. Like, I can put whatever I want.
And that's true, but then it goes along the line of, as long as you're not trying to cause harm to somebody else. Like, there's been instances to where people just point blank period, you don't like somebody, so I'm going to just start saying stuff about this person, and I'm going to start just, posting pictures of this person, or, I think that's wrong. Like, I feel don't use,
do whatever they want with it though, right?
Yeah, but I feel go to that person. If you got a problem with somebody, you go to that person. You don't necessarily have to put it out on social media because at the end of the
that's
day,
in a perfect world.
But I mean, at the end of the day, like, you're still not getting nowhere.
To them, they may. I mean, again, it comes down to perspective.
It depends on what they're trying to accomplish. If I want to embarrass you,
or
the best platform to do it is on a platform that everyone can see.
Absolutely.
If I come to you and talk to you about it, it's not really.
I guess
it depends on intent.
I guess.
And let me say, I'm not agreeing with it, but the only thing I'm saying is theirs. They have the right, and honestly, I think if they get too far out, don't social media, these platforms will flag you or block you or something like that.
If you get too crazy.
If you get too crazy, they'll halt you.
Yeah,
or
on
something
social media, you can't post Instagram stuff. You can't post like nude or anything like that. You get flagged, and also users can flag other users for certain activities like that.
But I just think, at the end of the day, my whole thought pattern goes to communication. I feel that's something that we lack. Some big issues can be solved just over communication. And if you got a problem with somebody, communicate with that person. Talk to that person. Be like, yo, listen. Because at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, that person don't even know what's the problem. Like, why we even got an issue. So I feel don't use a platform such as social media, because that's one of them things that they say, once you say something, you can't take it back. And I think along the lines of social media, just words in general. So imagine the effect that social media has. If I say something to any one of y'all, that's hurtful, y'all will always remember that. No matter what, you can be like, okay, I forgive you or whatever, but that thought is like, yo, that's how she look at me. That's how she that's what she thinks about me.
My man Fabulous said the best thing ever. Favorite rapper, throw it out there. Taking back something you already said is like giving CPR to something that's already dead. That's why me, for example, I'm getting in an argument. I'm not gonna say sorry for what I said. I'm not that person. So I didn't mean this. No, I meant to say that. It's maybe not the delivery, but I meant to say that though. So again, like you're stating, once it's out there, it's out. You can't put that back. Oh, I didn't really. It's there. Again, the delivery may be off, or the choice of words may be different. And again, different people look at things differently depending on how you say it, tone, influx, all of that. But once it's out, it's out.
Yeah, I just think people use social media to push a negative agenda, man. Like, somebody sent me a post this week had a conversation with someone this week, and it was about the fact of, matter of fact, we can go to Damon's John interview on the Breakfast Club. He said the first 90 minutes, once you wake up, should be dedicated to yourself. Don't go on social media, because social media makes you feel bad about where you're at in life. Or, wow, I'm not as small as I want to be. I don't have enough muscles. Wow, I'm not living like boom, 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 or whatever the case might be. And I think people use it, like you just said, to push a negative narrative when it can be used for so much more. Like you got this one, like I said, I had a conversation with somebody this week, and it was a disturbing conversation, and the person knows who they are. I won't even say any names because it's not necessary. But it was just about, when you look at certain things, pretty much things aren't what they seem, but you're taking it for face value, so you really feel like these people are happy. This is a real picture, and it's not. You understand what I'm saying? Again, you don't see the story. The only thing you see is the glory.
And there's a lot of, sometimes one thing that I go back to, and I talk to a lot of people, and one thing that I always tell people, the people who smile the most are hurting the most inside. Like, you have to, those people are going through so much. You see them laughing and smiling, I'm having a good day, this right here. You don't know what they're going through at home, what their lives consist of. Those are people who can't make it from day to day, but all they got to hold on to is that smile. So even just like, those people, you really don't hear much about it, but it's the ones sometimes you have on social media that put on a front that it's like, you know what, despite what I'm going through, I'm going to make it look like I got it because I can't look bad to nobody else. And to me, those are the people that I have an issue with, because I'm like, it's okay to go through stuff. It's okay to not have it, because then you show people like, look, it's a process that you have to actually trust in. You got to go through this, but you can get out of it.
That's one thing, like you're saying, with the process. I don't think everybody needs to see the process. To be completely honest with you, like, I remember my mother made stuffing. For the longest, I had no idea the stuff was made from cornbread. I had no idea. So I was actually mushing up my hands. I thought it was cool. Or my mom was like, yo, making macaroni and cheese. I didn't know eggs was in it. Like, you don't necessarily need to see the process, but don't necessarily glorify it like it's not occurring, though. So again, certain things don't have to be shown, in order for them to know what's actually going on.
I understand that, and I would say I agree to a certain extent. The only thing is for me is that we so often like to hide the process because we don't want people to know that we go through things. We don't want people to know that we come up shorthanded. We don't want people to know that we have different things that happen in our lives. We want to, it's like, oh no, because if this person know this, oh, they're going to go to XYZ and they're going to look at me like this. And at the end of the day, there's been times to where I pour my heart out to people and I talk to people and let them know it's going to be okay. They looking at me like, how you know it's going to be okay? So in those moments is when I'm transparent and I say, listen here, I done went through this. This right here done happened. I know how it feels to not have. I know how it feels for, something not to go right, or I don't have enough for this right here and I don't know where it's going to come from. I know these feelings personally. And it's in those moments that people don't open up and be transparent, because at the end of the day, they're looking like, how can I deliver hope to you when you ain't never been through nothing, when you ain't even know I done been through it. I'm showing you that this right here is the person who done been through it, came through it, and I'm showing you too. I may be going through it, but I still got a smile on my face, and I still believe that I can get through it.
The thing with the whole transparency, a lot of people only want to be transparent when they don't have an option. Like if like you were saying, for example, if someone that was really heavy into the gym, working out crazy, they gained 80 pounds, they're only gonna be transparent. I see it. It's pretty obvious at this point. So at that point, the only option you kind of have would to be transparent. But on the other hand, when you have that option, like for example, if a millionaire sitting and telling you about, yo, back in the days I used to eat ramen noodles and stuff like that, he doesn't have to speak on that because he's a millionaire now. He's good now. But if someone's actually in the hood like, yo, I eat ramen noodles, it's crazy, bro, you don't got a choice. So again, when you have a choice to be transparent, that's what I think is more powerful to come from. But I agree with you, when you're speaking to someone that's going through something, it's best to be transparent and it's best to be vulnerable to speak on those situations if you're speaking from the heart.
I think as far as that example you just gave, I think it's important for the millionaire at that point to tell the story. If he's actually eating ramen noodles next to an individual who works for him, rather, that's making, regular wage or whatever the case might be, and you're looking at him like, yo, dude, you're a millionaire and you're eating. I think at that point it's necessary to actually be transparent and be like, no. Let me talk to you.
I agree. I feel like that's what it matters the most in that point when you don't have to be, when you don't have a choice. When you do have a choice, but you choose to. That's when it means a lot. And someone can be like, bro, you don't even have to tell me that. You don't have to tell me your ramen. You just ate steak and potatoes. Tell me about your ramen noodle. It's like a rapper saying like, yo, I ain't gonna lie, back in the days, I used to smash ugly chicks. But your wife is gorgeous. Yeah, but back in the days, though, I smash ugly chicks.
But I think
I think it's necessary to tell the process.
And I
definitely think it's necessary. Because you never wanted to see, like, honestly, you look at these players, right? Like, I just realized, researched, it said Kobe used to shoot 1,000 shots per day. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't want to see that? I mean, you see the work, like, even when you look at the levels of greatness, like, what did they do to get to that point? And that part is, like, trusting, showing the process at that point right there.
I agree.
I would want to see that.
It's necessary, but for someone like Kobe, compared to, I don't know, Swish Parker, right? Somebody, you have no idea who he is, right?
Absolutely.
My point exactly. Someone like him, yeah, you got to trust the process, right? You got to go, you going through the process, I can tell. Kobe, he doesn't have to say this because he's great. But the fact that he does mention he takes 1,000 jump shots a day, or the fact when he lost that game, he used to actually go to these cities, like, yo, they used to open up local high schools for him to sit there and take jump shots, just because he was that determined to get it in, because he lost the night before.
So let me ask you a question. What does trust in the process mean to you?
Trust in the process to me to understand that you're going to learn more from the actual journey compared to the destination. I tell anyone that the college degree that I do have, that right there is just a piece of paper. What I learned while I was in college, going through that, the ups and downs and all that, that's what it actually means. That right there at the end of the line, that's not what it really actually is. Going through all of that and succumbing to that. Keep going, and keep taking those hits. To me, that's what it really is.
Lady Simone, what's your definition of trust in the process?
Trust in the process to me is just knowing that you're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. And 9 times out of 10, you probably have a little more bad days than your good days. But the whole point of trusting the process is despite whatever hits you, whatever comes your way, you keep going. You keep smiling. You keep pushing because you believe that there's something greater than what you can see. You know, to me, and for me personally, trusting the process is just faith. It's having so much more faith than I can, like, I think I told somebody before, it's having radical faith. It's like, for me, it's beyond my own understanding. It's beyond anything that I can see. And to some people, they can look at me and say, you're crazy. And I would say I just have crazy faith, because I would not stand on something knowing that that's not for me. So I'm not going to sit there and quit. I'm going to keep fighting, even if I have 50 cents to my name and Lord knows I need $500. I'm going to still just believe that there's something greater in my that's not where I'm supposed to be. So that's, to me, trusting the process is just finding that faith and just keep pushing.
And actually, that's how I was going to sum it up. My definition of trusting the process, just walking in faith, not knowing what's around that corner, but the fact of the matter that you believe strong enough, like this is in fact, because the issue is a lot of people try to skip the processes, and you gotta look at them like, how dare you? And that's the part that gets you upset. That's the part that really gets you upset, and I think that's when social media feeds into it for me. You'll see people that's like they're doing it, but they're really not doing it. And it's like it's okay to run around the Toyota Camry. It's okay. You know what I mean? You may get to that point of pulling up in whatever car that you may fancy or whatever the case might be.
Nice old form.
Yeah, nice, whatever it is. But that's the part that really sends such a false perception out to people. And then people feel like, well, I was just with McFly the other day, and he was in his whatever kind of car McFly drives. But then so they feel like but they don't know what you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So they try to skip the process. And that's the part that is so aggravating, because honestly, you sitting there trying to skip the process, you're going to come right back to where you was at in the beginning. And you're wasting time at that point. So sit there and go through it. Go through it. It's okay. It's not going to kill you. Go through it. Like Eric Thomas said, on the other side of that pain is what you want. Where Mano even said, Mano's a rapper for a lot of y'all who may not know, he said the pain resides in the same place the power does. They're pretty much one and the same. It's all about your perspective on how you look at it. Half full, half empty.
And at the end of the day, you got to understand that whatever it is that you go through, it's not going to be the same as the next person. So if you see XYZ got this big whatever house, cars, whatever it is that you may desire, and you feel like, why I'm not in a place to where I have that jet. And sometimes our biggest mistakes is that we put an age on a whole lot of things that we think that we should have. And at the end of the day, it's like, no, just sit there and wait. And as long as you're working hard towards it, continue to believe in your dream, continue to push, because it's going to be for you. And I think the exciting thing for me and the amazing thing is, just like now I can look back and just sit and say, you know what? I wasn't ready for what I thought I was in those, like back then, when I feel like I should have had it. It wasn't at a point to where I feel like I was ready for it. But then I'm like, yo, this is what I need. This is what should have happened. And you know what I'm saying? Because some of the things that I face today, if I was to face it back then, I'm like, yo, I don't think I would even survive.
And then some of the things that you wish that you was gunning for that you didn't get, you get down on yourself. And some people don't bounce back from that. So you gotta trust the process and take your time in it, and stop comparing yourself to other people. You know what I'm saying?
I think all that is natural, though, to be honest with you.
No, it's definitely.
I think the people faking on social media is natural. Not trusting the process is natural. The radical faith that you guys speak of, I feel like you have to have something radical in your life to occur. Something like, bro, I don't know how we got out of it. I don't know how we made this to then have that radical faith. Regular faith may be cool. Radical faith, something's occurred and it pulled through that. You didn't understand how it happened to get to that certain level. And again, like I said, I feel like all that is natural with the people. Again, I'm not saying I necessarily agree with it, but I understand that it's going to be in that. And with that, everything's not for everybody.
And that's true.
I would agree with you. That's true.
I would love for everyone to be vulnerable and transparent like that. Everyone gets different things at different times in their life. Obviously, it's better to get it sooner than later.
But you know what? If people were like that, we wouldn't be doing this episode right here.
We
wouldn't be doing this episode if everybody was transparent.
It takes a lot to be transparent.
It takes you to go through a lot. It takes you to the point to where you just surrender everything at that point. Like, you know what? I just don't care anymore. Not so much I don't care anymore. I don't care how I'm being perceived to the people that I think are important. Because at some point, you do got to care what people say. at some point. Certain people, you got to care about what they say and how they think about
For
it.
example, Michael B. Jordan in the movie Black Panther, he played Killmonger. He actually, I didn't know this, he was more of a method actor for this particular role. So for 9 months, he was walking around being Killmonger. So with that being said, he said, like, yo, what did you like about it? I recently watched an interview that he said, one thing I loved about it, Killmonger didn't care. He just didn't care about what no one said. He was like, yo, it was great for him personally, just to have that moment of 9 months, just not walking around. He said people used to literally see him and just not make eye contact, go left, go right, just because of who he was. Not Michael B. Jordan, the fact that he was in this character. That sense right there, that pure sense, transparent, that is what I would like for everyone to have based upon that, so they can feel that. That's a great place to be in. And again, hopefully everyone gets to that place. Don't walk around crazy with it. But again, if you're vulnerable and transparent, you will feel that way. And again, you may get some bad with it, you may get some good with it. But that's life.
Absolutely. So actually, since you brought the topic up, did everyone here see the Black Panther film?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Lady Simone, what did you think about it?
Personally, I really, really enjoyed it. I compared it to the real life Lion King.
How
to
was
me,
that? About what standards? How? We talking about lions and people. I mean,
because
how?
if people was placed in the roles of the characters of Lion King, I feel it would be the Black Panther movie. And just in the direction of Scar and Mufasa and just everything about it. But I really would give the movie like a 9 or a 10, because I just feel like, say, when I think it was Scar and Mufasa who threw each other off of the cliff.
Nah, they were Scar and Mufasa was going at it,
Scar-
and Scar tossed Mufasa.
Yeah,
off the cliff.
so
Correct.
that's when Black Panther fell. That's when, honestly, in that moment, that's when I was like, oh my goodness, the Lion King. Like, and just the strong essence of the Lion King, the storyline, the whole thing of how the family battled, and then just the lessons that's in the movie, it all can be compared to that, and that's what I actually, that's what I got from it.
I'll be honest with you, I didn't even get up. I saw the film just recently, but until you just said that, I never put those two together. But I can so see the comparison, even as far as when I guess it was a scene where he had to drink the little purple, whatever the case might be, and you actually go into, I guess you go into a dark space in your mind, in a sense, to become one with the spirit of the
And
panther.
speaking of the ancestors,
Speaking
and
to
stuff.
your ancestors, and you had the panther sitting there with the glowing eyes. It was considered that same scene where Simba went to go speak to Mufasa's spirit and the ancestors, actually, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
The other lions was there, and you had Rikishi in the background. So yeah, now that you put it that way, I definitely see it. That's wow.
This crazy again. Lion King's my top 5 movies, and I didn't even put that together. Again, the one scene that Mo was just speaking on, I did catch that, but the whole comparison when Scar killed his brother in the movie, Black Panther's father kills his brother. Like this, just
Even
And then
even
look
the
at
girl
it when
next-
Nyla came
Yeah,
back. Remember,
yeah.
they left each other and then they came
That's-
back and she came back. So, I mean,
That's-
it's just, to
wow.
me, it was so much. But it was, not trying to say it was cartoonish or anything like that, because I don't want to get the wrong perspective of that as of it. But I'm just saying it was
You know
an
what?
awesome movie. It was,
Another
to me.
comparison you can make towards the Lion King at the end when Black Panther and Michael B. Jordan, he was trying to spare his life. If you remember in Lion King, Simba said, Scar, like kind of like bow down. I don't want to kill you.
Yeah.
In a sense, like bow down. And it was a sense like that. But then Michael B. Jordan said, which was a very, if not the most profound moment or message sent, which was, I don't want to mess it up. Pretty much what he said, McFly, exactly.
he
What was it
said, "I rather he said with my actual body, toss it in the sea like my ancestors did. I'd rather go with that than live in bondage."
Right.
And then he pulled the knife out. Again, if you didn't see the movie, spoiler alerts, 100%. You should have been seeing it those in the full week. Get your life together.
But yeah, that's wow. Wow. That's woo.
But overall, it was a really good movie to me. I really enjoyed it, and I would have to say it goes in the top along with The Lion King for me. I enjoyed just seeing the movie and the characters, and it was something that just was something different, and I really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it based on the fact that Wakanda was a fictional place. Instead of like saying it was Egypt or something like that, so you feel like you actually got to get that Egypt vibe to go to Egypt. It's a fictional place, so your Wakanda could
You can
be
create your own Wakanda.
wherever it could be. It could be at your job.
That's a
It
good
could
point. That's a
be
good
in
point.
Charleston. It can be in Harlem. It can be wherever you want. It's a fictional place. just based upon that. So if you see the actual foundation of what Wakanda is, people holding each other together, unity and all that, you can have that anywhere. So I think that was definitely a good point to take from the movie as well.
I actually thought it was a good film. Like the first, I can't even put the time frame on it. It was a very good film. I love how they depict African Americans. I love how they depict Africa. Again, like McFly just said, Wakanda is a make-believe place, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a real place. They took from different tribes, different countries, and they kind of created their own, but nonetheless, it's still in the essence of Africa and actually the culture as a whole. I love how they shedded light on that right there. And if y'all pay attention to the movie, there's a lot of subliminal jabs like they were actually throwing out as that related to today's time. But
how these African Americans are moving currently, in which the origin, which is pretty much what Wakanda is saying, how that's not what we were actually originally trying to do. How we kind of derailed too much from our actual path. So again, I think it's all great things for people to definitely go check out. If you haven't seen it, go check it out.
Let me go ahead and say this right here. Let's go ahead and get rid of the elephant in the room. And not just African Americans. Caucasians go see it. Asians go see it. Chinese go see it. It's a good film overall. When we went to the movie theater today, honestly, the movie theater probably was more Caucasian than they were African American. So it's a film for everybody. Don't get caught up in what the media is trying to put out there. They're trying to use this as a means to further separate us as a country and as people. Just go check out the film. Enjoy the film for what it is and not for what everyone else is making it out to be. If you dislike it, fine. It's okay. You have that right. But nonetheless, just go check out the film, support it, and honestly, I think you'll get a lot from it. And actually, we wouldn't mind hearing some of y'all feedback outside of what we said and seen online. I would definitely like to hear some of y'all feedback.
And with the numbers that it did over 400 million the first weekend internationally. So with that being said, clearly it's more than just African Americans, more than black people actually supporting this. It's a Marvel movie. It's a good movie in general, and the messages they're there, but it's more of an undertone, I would say. So again, it's a good movie, good action movie. You can see it, just enjoy it. Some slight comedy as well.
Definitely slight comedy. Definitely some funny parts in it.
So yeah, go see it. It's a good family movie. You know what I mean? And I've seen a lot of people, actually when I went to the movies to see it, they actually had people right there with the dashikis and all that.
Yes, we seen one person today like that.
I had like 3 people. I wore all black when I went.
I got one in there. I got that.
If I had one, I would have wore it for sure. But again, it's just cool to kind of see that. Like they said, when people go to see Star Wars movies and stuff like that, they dress up as characters and crazy stuff.
Even better. Yeah. When we go see WrestleMania here, you really got adults that dress up as walking around with the belts like
and suitcase for Money in the Bank. They get busy, and
it's okay with that. Yeah. It's okay
because if it's something that you like, something that you love, I don't see a reason why we should not, do things like that. Even as adults, sometimes you got to take the edge off and
what do you call it? Not adulting.
Stop adulting. I do it.
Explain that to people what adulting. They might look at adultery, but explain it what adulting is.
I stop adulting, which means that there are hobbies that I like, things that I like to do that does not involve my kids. Some people may think, it's kid-like activities or whatever it may.
What's one of the things you do when you're not adulting? Yeah, what's one of the things?
Oh, to me, I am.
Everyone voice. Let's all be vulnerable.
Okay, I'm a huge something that a lot of people may not know. I'm a huge Mario fan. I have a Nintendo 3DS XL. And I enjoy Animal Crossing New Leaf. I enjoy it. I'm sorry, that's my thing. And that's where I say I stop adulting. I really do. I enjoy planning anything that's papers, ink pens, making stickers, whatever. I will stop adulting for even if it's like an hour in my day, and I don't do it every day because I don't get a chance with the kids. But when I do, I stop adulting and I focus on that right there, and that just gives me a peace of mind.
Me, myself, I guess you would say my form of adulting, I have an aluminum foil ball. Like, just excess aluminum, how you may wrap something up. I took one piece about a year ago and I balled it up, and I got the idea from, probably telling my age at this point, Pee Wee Herman had a TV show, and it was like a giant rubber band? Rubber band. And I was like, okay, you know what, I'm going to make me an aluminum foil ball. So I had this about a year ago, and every piece of aluminum foil ball and every piece of aluminum foil is definitely used. I'm not just tearing excess paper off my aluminum foil roll. So I guess you would say, and I had it for a year. I got it for a year, and I'm still working on it. And I actually made a post on Facebook about it just to let people know, you know, you gotta tap in. And this was just recently told to me. You gotta tap into that. I think McFly, I think you may have mentioned it on another episode. You gotta tap into that inner kid, and you gotta not forget about that inner kid. So with that, because you think about it, kids really have the best imagination. It's when you become an adult, when you start putting limitations on yourself. Kids actually believe they can do anything. They believe they can really fly.
I think that's the purest form of everyone. And again, we had a conversation. This is off the podcast, but we had a conversation with regarding when you're a kid, you say whatever, you smell, whatever the case may be, you're short, you're tall, whatever the case may be, you're completely transparent. First thing comes to mind, you go. You get the same thing when you become old. They say whatever they want, do whatever they want. That's just how it goes. Like, you're so new to it, you can do whatever you want. You're so old to it, you can say whatever you want. It's the same thing. But regarding, I guess, mine with adulting, I love Dragon Ball Z. I still to this day love Dragon Ball Z. Goku, Gohan, Vegeta, Trunks. I'm definitely big into that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I love my Dragon Ball Z. 100%.
Oh my. And I didn't even know this.
I love my Dragon Ball
God.
Z. Yeah, I got some Dragon Ball. Matter of fact, they got a Dragon Ball Z mix from Paid in Full with that scene, and I still want that poster. Definitely there.
I thought you were about to say there was a Dragon Ball Z convention.
Conference or
Oh,
something.
no. I think I will go with that. But I definitely big into Dragon Ball Z. Something still to this day is probably crazy. If I can't go to sleep, what I do is I count Pokemon. Like, 100%. I don't know why, it just works for me. Like, I'll just be like, yo, Charizard, Blastoise, Jigglypuff, Meow. Like, I'll name all the
it's disturbing that you know these names.
I have a great memory. Long term, I have a great memory. I love Jigglypuff, though.
I've never heard that name before.
Pikachu, Charizard, Blastoise. I mean, those.
They actually have a Pikachu Nintendo 2DS XL, and it looks really dope.
It's big, so
people use it as collector items.
I'm telling you, it's big. So I literally list off these different Pokemon until I go to sleep, because I already know if I like. For example, I've been having bad dreams consecutively. I have to change the narrative. Typically, whatever you think about right before you go to sleep, that's how it typically goes into your dream. So I would do that right there, Pokemon. Again, I love Pokemon when I was a kid, and it's still.
They be like fighting stuff in your sleep.
I actually got one thing to say about the Black Panther movie, and I'll leave the topic alone. When I went to go watch it with my family, I asked my oldest son. I said, "What was your favorite part about the movie?" He said, "Dad, my favorite part of the movie was I was the first one that clapped at the end of it." He said, "Dad, I was waiting the whole movie just to get my clap off, and when I started, everyone clapped. Dad, that was my best move, my best moment of the whole movie." And I'm like, this dude really is the clapper. He's really that guy that sits back until everybody else going.
That's the moment. That's the moment if you get that slow clap going. I've seen it several times. People started.
I really see him sitting there clapping, slow looking around like, come on, y'all.
You got it.
Come on.
You can get into it.
Oh, you got it. So, yeah, that's our take on the Black Panther. I'm actually going to speak on one more thing, and some of y'all may not be too up to speed on it. Monique. We know that she's boycotting...
Our sister Monique.
Yes.
Our sister Monique.
She's boycotting Netflix for gender bias, for racial bias, and I think there's something else bias.
Age bias.
Age bias. I think proper pronunciation of word bias.
Yeah.
I'm just messing around.
Mad different things.
But nonetheless, she was on a Breakfast Club, and for those who may not know, it's a Breakfast Club. It's a radio segment, radio show, morning show in New York, and it's the #1 radio show, if I'm not mistaken. And it's John.
Syndicated.
And it's John. And you have a character on there, a personality, by the name of Charlemagne the God, and he actually has the segment called Donkey of the Day, where he actually calls out the people who have done things that just may not seem like it was what's that?
What do they say? He gives stupid the attention it deserves, or some choice of words, something like that.
And when Monique said that Netflix offered her $500,000 versus Amy Schumer and Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle, they got like what? I think Amy got 13 or 12, and Chris and them got like 20 apiece. And her whole point was that I'm a legend. I should get what the legends get since y'all deem me as a legend. So anyway, she went on a Breakfast Club in defense mode, actually, trying to get an understanding of why Charlemagne gave her Donkey of the Day. And it was again, it depends on how you look at it.
It was an interesting interview.
It was definitely an interesting interview, and I wanted to bring it up because we got 2 males on this panel and 1 female. And if you look at the interview, you had Monique that was pretty much going head to head with Charlamagne. So I'm gonna ask Lady Simone first, and she's the lady in the room. What was your stand and take on it?
Sister Monique.
I think she came in with an agenda. Her agenda to me was to, one, she wanted Charlamagne. I think it was more so of a respect thing for her. I think she felt disrespected.
Leonard. She wanted Leonard.
Yeah.
She wanted Leonard.
I think she felt disrespected, and me personally, I got what she was saying, but then I also understand his viewpoint on it, and I think what actually, to cut it all down and not make it drawn out for myself, I really feel like she just wanted him to apologize because she felt being called a donkey just in general was hurtful and disrespectful and degrading to her. So I felt that it was a conversation that they should have had, like, between them two, and I feel like he would have got a better understanding that she just really wanted that apology. Like, you should not call me a donkey. Like, all that I've done, like who I am as a woman, and you know what I'm saying, I feel in that essence of it, that's what she was looking for, was that apology, which he didn't stand down from what he said, and he said, you know, he just feels she does not deserve that amount of money. Like,
but she was called Donkey of the Day, not Donkey of the Year, Donkey of the Month, Donkey of the
But
Week.
I guess
there's a new one every day. We would have been forgot about her mentioning this Donkey of the Day if she wouldn't.
But I think with her age, it's the whole thing of donkey.
She said, "Would you call your mother?"
Yeah, it's the whole word of donkey.
You gotta look at if she's, because again, I feel like when I'm watching the interview, she should have at least said, what does Donkey of the Day mean to her? She kept griping on that. There's a long list of Donkey of the Day recipients that have much more clout or much more fame than Monique, that are also black females. She didn't say, well, sister this one, sister that. She didn't mention any of this. She was perfectly fine with just defending herself.
Yeah, because I think for her, donkey means, you know,
derogative.
Yeah, it meant it's disrespectful.
It's supposed to be disrespectful.
And see, she 100%. Didn't, and she felt like she knew him on a level to where, just like she went back to the time when she met him and how she felt he was this type of guy or whatever. I think for her, that hurt more than anything. I mean, despite. To you, it may not mean the same thing, but to me, that's like if Mo said, you know, you're a donkey, and then he said, Lady Simone, you're a donkey as well. And to you, you'd be like, yo, okay, you're a donkey, but I mean, I don't care. It was whatever. To me, it could hit my soul, and I'm like, listen, I don't like you calling me a donkey. That's, to me, is disrespectful. So I would want an apology. Like, yo, can you not do that again? And don't call me that. That's calling me outside of my name. And I think for her, maybe it could be her age or whatever. I think that hit her to that right there disturbed her more than anything.
She should display donkey-like characteristics. She would call it donkey.
But see, that's all opinionated. I think,
and it's his segment, so it's based off.
But
his
you know what I think
is who's the donkey.
What I thought
that's all it is.
I'm gonna tell you what I thought about the segment. I feel like Monique definitely came in there with an agenda. Charlamagne also came. Not so much the crew. Charlamagne actually came in with an agenda
that
as well.
particular interview?
Yes. Because if you look at it, he normally does a Donkey of the Day near the end of the show. As in the end of their show, that 4-hour window that they have. Mm-hmm. And he said since the Birdman's interview, every person that comes in this room, whether we're live on the air or not, hit record. He said don't stop recording until they leave the room. Even if we're off the air. Don't stop hitting record until they leave the room. And he actually said this after the Monique conversation. So therefore, it's like, I know this is going to be good right here. So I'm going to go. Now, Birdman's a little bit different. That's man to man at that point right there, right? But see, with Charlamagne is pushing this whole agenda of black privilege, which is the name of his book. I would recommend you get that. It's a good read. I haven't finished it yet, but it's a good read. Then with him standing behind Colin Kaepernick with the whole you know, social injustice as us as people, right? Okay. And then him standing so heavy with the minister Louis Farrakhan, and then with him standing so heavy with this whole calling people with the like, yo, Cal, send us $20,000 for the Harry Belafonte Foundation, whatever he had, and for him to actually to kind of use that right there in a sense, because you're sitting there trying to bring African Americans together on that sense, but on that platform again. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with one another. But what I'm saying is that right there could have been a conversation that could have been had behind closed doors and not try to capitalize off of it.
But based upon this, again, with this, as you can clearly see, if you watched the interview, she reached out to another comedian and said she wanted to come on. So she wanted to come get this off. She reached out to the good, pretty-eyed comedian. He had like his son's his comedian. Forgot his name. He's been on
Gerald Kelly.
Yeah, she reached out to him through and like
You
showed
know,
him.
he got people where we from.
Oh, that's what's up. So he reached out to them to have that conversation. She came on with that. So regarding him, like I'm not the type to be like, yo, I'm going to support this just because it's black. I'm not going to do that. So just because she's black and I'm fighting for black empowerment, black equality. Right is right, wrong is wrong. White, black, pink, yellow,
first
orange.
of all, no, it's not that. What I'm saying is that could have been done on a personal scale, right? On a one-on-one scale. You did not have to try to do, because even on that segment that they did that was supposed to be Donkey of the Day, they had people call in and said, do y'all think that she should have got Donkey of the Day? Half said yes, half said no. But then at the end of it, they started mocking the way that she was acknowledging her husband was acknowledging her. Like that's now we know Envy characters. Someone said something about him and Gia. Oh my God,
He's light-skinned, he's sensitive.
But nonetheless, what I'm saying is, it seemed like he looked at that as an opportunity to actually capitalize on the brand of the Breakfast Club instead. I mean, it's okay to disagree. It's okay. It's healthy to disagree. But I just felt that it wasn't that when you have a conversation, in most cases you're trying to come to like a nice common median, like a nice common ground for the better of the situation, not to actually try to capitalize off of it.
I think she came there because again she came on her iPad recording off the rip. Even she came with the iPad to record it, right? Then at the end of it, she said, "I hope y'all the kind of establishment that doesn't cut and edit."
Yes.
So she pretty much said, "If y'all gonna cut and edit, don't worry. I got the reel right here on my iPad." So she already came expecting some kind of
Friction
off top with that right there. So with that being said, again, I agree that they could have had the conversation off. She came there thinking she was going to defend herself based upon her accolades of it being Donkey Today. This is why I'm not Donkey Today. Even watching the interview, I still feel she deserved Donkey Today. Every question that Charlamagne asked, she deferred. Again,
Charlamagne did the same thing though, but then also
Charlamagne started doing that towards the end.
Charlamagne did it though in general.
He did it because again, it's like if you're not answering my questions, I'm not answering.
But you're still supposed to always have that level of professionalism. Because there's been times, like the way I felt about it, how he went at Monique, how come you totally removed yourself from the Troy Ave interview? Because you ain't want no parts of that, right? It's a little sticky. But then you can go...
That's legal. That's different. That's legal.
Not involving him. Troy put himself in that predicament. This is how you said Monique did. Troy put himself in that predicament, but you remove yourself from that. They're going to look at this how the way they looked at the whole Little Mama thing. And what's crazy
I hope not.
As in bullying. As in you're using your platform.
She came on she came on to get bullied.
No, she came on and to have a healthy conversation about the situation. And she came protecting herself, as far as you said with the iPad. She came in protecting herself just in case they try to chop and screw this. The further make me look crazy.
Why would you come into that's like me going to a neighborhood like, let me bring my gun just in case something pop off. If that's the case, I don't need to go to that neighborhood. She didn't need to come to the situation. She already thought that it was going to be possible.
And that's a fair point.
I think what happened from a woman's point of view, I think her emotions got the best of her. I think
during
or
before?
During. Because I think I really think she had an agenda to come in to try to change his mind of at least to let him see how she was feeling. But I think she also wanted that kind of like apology and want him to say, you know what, I apologize for calling you a donkey. When that didn't go that way, I think she kind of got frustrated.
She was off the rip.
Yeah, she came in bullying.
Leonard off the rip. She came in bullying.
But when she saw her tactic didn't work, I think that's when she kind of you can see the emotions just poured out.
Was that not properly preparing herself? Because I know what I'm up against. This is he's like the number one media guy.
She was prepared.
Oh yeah.
But for the wrong war. She was prepared though. She was definitely prepared. She came in, iPad, the notes, little Louis bag, ready with the stuff. She was prepared just for the wrong war. I had Sydney on there, sitting there talking his little words, which he was using too many big words, sounding like T.I. and not even stringing them together. When you're speaking to someone educated, they pick up on that. So I didn't like the whole setup. If he couldn't make it, he couldn't make it. Because him actually even being there with that voice threw off the whole flow of the conversation. Him coming in. But again, she came in with an agenda. She came to be disrespectful. And then
I won't say disrespectful. I think she came to stand her ground.
I've never seen in all 585 interviews of The Breakfast Club anyone say Leonard. Most people don't know his real name.
But understand, you're going up against the number one media guy. And he has so much power. He has more power than Monique as far as presence power, I guess you would say.
Moving the crowd, definitely.
Yeah, he has. So I got to come prepared. I mean, I gotta come prepared. So that was a tactic that she had. What it was, I feel she was trying to. The person that she said she met in the elevator during the Wendy Williams time,
like 10 years.
Okay,
She met her one time 10 years.
But yeah, but that was in her mind. I felt that she think that was Leonard, and Leonard was very pleasant and mindful. But now I'm meeting this big head guy who was
that was her
New York
angle.
#1 seller, TV show producer, Charlemagne the God. So I'm gonna acknowledge you as the man who I initially met. Leonard had that respect for me at that point in time. Now at the end of the conversation, when she lost her cool because she's a woman, nonetheless emotions are involved. If you notice at the end of the conversation, she started calling him Charlemagne. So that's when she lost control.
She switched it up though. First it was Leonard, then it was Leonard, then it was Charlemagne, then it was Charlemagne.
You checked it.
She switched it up all the different times. I didn't like that approach. But you said, tell me this, before this, did you think she deserved Donkey today?
No.
So you feel like this interview, did it sway your opinion at all? Or was this interview pointless to you regarding if she should be Donkey today? Just based off that.
Oh, that's a good question, McFly.
I
don't know. I don't know. I can't say. I don't think she deserved it, period, because what she was doing, she was standing up, from what I understand, from not being there, she was standing up for something that she felt wasn't right. And because people they're not there, or they may hear some of the old ways that you may have had, they automatically say, you know what, she's a donkey, or she's bugging. Because even my son said that. I don't know if he was on social media this weekend, more so Instagram. Charlemagne was really defending himself the whole weekend. My son actually came out and said, you know what, Queen, after looking at this interview, I apologize. I was just like everybody else in America, but the woman that I saw on that platform, I saw my grandmother, that person that stood up for injustice. Go ahead.
She looked amazing on that for the action. She looked amazing. I would say
she's freaking me out with the gray edges, but
I like it. I like how she's holding on to it. But with that being said, Charlemagne gave her Donkey of the Day based off of that segment that she said on social media.
As far as what is that?
Regarding
the boycott Netflix.
Inequality due to racism, due to femaleness, then actually sexism, excuse me. Then named black people that's getting a check and a female that's getting a check. That's very contradictory. Based off of that, you can get this Donkey today. Based solely off of that.
What I will say I agree with Charlemagne on is I really feel that she's taking it personal versus it affecting everybody as a whole. I think it's more of a personal thing for her.
And I agree with you. That's why, again, her saying that right there is contradictory. She's trying to use this big umbrella that everyone's looking under right now to use that for. And again, the example she was using...
But I still don't think she deserved Donkey today.
I don't think she did not deserve Donkey today. So with that being said, I can't remember the other producer's name, not Lee Daniels. What was
Lee
the other
Daniels,
guy?
Packer.
Will Packer. She said Will Packer was screaming on a producer or something like that.
I think it was vice versa. I think the producer was screaming on Will Packer, I think.
No, I think Will Packer was screaming on a producer.
Okay.
And she looked at Will and said, Will, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not your job. So now, we got an actor screaming on an executive. You feel like that? You feel like that's the right pecking order? Because you pretty much
no, absolutely right. I don't care who you are.
But that's the thing though. If you feel like it's okay if he feels like he needs to input himself into this conversation with the director, his position, why do you feel someone further down can go back up on it? Again, if it's equal across the board, now if she would have said, Will, you shouldn't be speaking to him in that tone. Not, Will, you're an executive, you should not be speaking to a director like that.
As far as titles is concerned.
That's what she was basing hers off. So you had an actor at the bottom of the totem pole, you work for hire. I can fire you and cash you with another real quick, like, all right? So with that being said, her trying to do that, I feel like that was contradictory based off of that. Her examples, it just didn't make sense.
What example did she give that didn't make sense? So I can just tie it in.
That example just now said.
Okay.
That one right there, and based off of how she was saying her resume, she never even said how she's the most accredited comedian ever. That's a bold statement.
She touched on it lightly as far as queens and selling and
when you say that, you gotta hold things that hold that thing down. You just can't be like...
Would that be the video that she stood next to with all the trophies and the awards and everything?
Okay, that's not the platform. You came up here for this platform right here. Let's get it off on this.
Okay.
If that's
one thing I would definitely say I disagree with Monique on. Like I said, the part that she said Charlemagne's name will be mentioned much more now. You are equivalent to that scene in Birth of a Nation, which I didn't see the movie, but that scene in Birth of a Nation where the slave took his wife to the slave owner to have sex with him, and then he had to wait outside the door, I guess, to come back and get her, and pretty much in the midst of all that, saying that Charlemagne is equivalent to that. That right there was a very, very low blow.
And I think that definitely was her emotions, and that was one of the, to me, that was a point to where I want you to feel. I want you to feel the hurt that you have me feel, and I think that was going. Yeah,
she was being emotional.
That's what that was.
And even at that point, Charlamagne started off the interview like, "I start off with love and give you a hug." Even at the end, he still stood up for that hug to embrace that, but she didn't want that.
Yeah,
no,
because I think what it is
I don't think Charlamagne said anything else too crazy during it. Honestly.
But no, I think what it is when you just did. I don't think both of them just saw eye to eye in that case, and that is okay. And I think what we can learn from the interview and what we can just learn in general is we're not going to always see eye to eye, but it doesn't take like I say, some things you can't take back. Mm-hmm. No matter if Monique do go back to Charlamagne and Charlamagne talks to Monique and say, honestly, after looking at the thing, I see now that's you felt disrespected, so I apologize. No matter if he do go and say that, in his mind, he still, you look at me as that man. Mm-hmm. From Birth of a Nation. That's very powerful. Like we said, that was a very powerful statement to say in that. And that's something like we talked earlier about. You can't take that back.
Even how she tried to compare Will Packer and Lee Daniels to Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
You know. Again, she's using these clickbait, these heavy hitters to bring down these people that scorned her. She's a scorned female. I don't care. And honestly, I don't remember any stand up with her level of being that funny. Movies wise, the Parkers, like different things, cool. She's not that funny to me personally.
How do you view females? How do you view females in a sense? Because you got some guys that like, you know what? Female rappers. Do you really check for female rappers?
Yeah.
Do you really check for the WNBA?
No.
Do you really check for female comedians like that?
They're funny.
Even female wrestlers.
Female wrestlers. So it's like they get
they're little items, little clothing. I like it. I believe in double standards. Call what you want. But what I'm saying is with that, even like with the Tiffany Haddish, she's funny to me. Amy Schumer. Her stand-up, the one she was speaking on Netflix, Tridash. All right, I didn't even finish it. But her movies, she's funny. I like her. Trainwreck, loved it. With Bron, cool. Snatch with Goldie, loved that as well.
She actually went on The View too, and her and Whoopi kind of.
I saw partially. And again, the main thing I want people to get from this is this is a good lesson from life. Anything is, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate. That's it. That's it. If you don't say like again, if everyone was lowballing her. Oh, you're a legend. Let me give you $10 million. Like, no, I'm gonna go see what the market is telling me I can give you and go based upon that. At that point in time, you negotiate. You always counter offer. That's just smart business. But the fact that she's being emotional, she has a husband attached to it, which is her manager speaking for her. Of course, he's gonna be emotional with it as well because that's his wife. It's not good business to have emotions involved at all.
Okay. So with that right there being said, this is the end of the podcast. Hope y'all enjoyed. Lady Simone, you have any closing statements with that strong introduction? So you got to give us something on the outro strong. What you got to say?
Nah, I just want to say, just in all that's going around the world, just stay true to who you are. When you're going through something, find and seek someone who can help you, and just understand that it is a process, and whatever your journey may take you, you just stay true to it and just keep pushing it. And just don't give up, don't give up because it can be worse. Sometimes that can be looking to your left and you can see that, somebody didn't wake up. And there's somebody who wished they had the opportunity that you have just to walk in your shoes and just to have breath in their body. So just stay true to the process.
McFly?
I would like to say to my brothers and sisters out there, what we all need to do, go watch Black Panther. Great movie. Shout out to Chadwick Boseman, Upstate, OWN. And also go check out that Chris Rock special on Netflix called Tambourines. A lot of gems in there to be learned in life.
All right. Me, your main man Mo. I'm going to keep it real short and simple. I just want you to smile, man. That's all I want y'all to do is smile. Y'all thinking it's bad, there's people that got it worse than you, man. Regardless of what you're going through, I shouldn't be able to read it on your face when I see you or anything of that nature. So enjoy the process as hard as it may sound. Just trust the process, enjoy the process, and smile all in between that right there. All right. So this is the With All Due Respect podcast presented by Mo Knows with your girl, Lady Simone, Mr. McFly, and your main man Mo. Until next time, yeah.